Story 2. AITA for asking my family to take their shoes off inside of my house. My husband, 26M, and I, 22F, just bought a home a few weeks ago, and we have been decorating and settling in. One of the things we decided on was putting a few rugs down, as the whole home is hardwood floors. These rugs are a light gray/white color. My husband and I are very much type A people and like to keep a clean and clutter-free home, so we figured the color of rugs wouldn't be an issue since we and all of our friends don't wear shoes indoors at each other's houses. My Uncle E and his wife, my godfather and his girlfriend, and my aunt Art drove in from out of state to stay with my mom, who lives in a few towns over from me. Mind you, Art invited herself on this trip, and since she is the baby of the family, no one told her no. I invited all of them over for supper, to see the new home and spend some family time playing games, etc. I put a sign at the front door asking them to take their shoes off, as I didn't want to have to be bossy by telling them to take their shoes off. I figured they're old enough to read and be respectful. As soon as I walked into my home and saw the sign, she scoffed and continued to keep walking, so I said, "I really don't want shoes to be worn in the house, so can you just leave them at the door?" She then proceeded to scoff and storm out of the door, slamming it. She pouted on the doorstep and refused to come in for the rest of the night. My mom then continued to berate me for the rest of the night, saying it is not that big of a deal and it's not customary where they are from to take your shoes off when entering someone's home. My Uncle E spent the evening going in and out checking on R. My mom then made a weak excuse for all of them to leave, saying that she forgot to do something at home. They ended up leaving about an hour after they arrived. I then texted my mom to tell her that R is no longer welcome in my home, as this is not the first time she has thrown a fit when I've tried to do some sort of family gathering. I was told I am being overdramatic and she should be welcome at any time. AITA? Edit. I would absolutely not press the issue or ask if a guest was elderly or incapable of easily taking shoes on or off. My aunts and uncles are all very mobile and healthy, so there wasn't a health issue or concern with taking shoes on or off. Guys, if you were in O.P's shoes, would you take it off? Navigating household rules and guests' expectations can be tricky, especially when they differ from your own norms. In your case, your request for guests to take off their shoes in your new home was made clear with a sign, and your intention was to maintain cleanliness and protect your light-colored rugs. It's unfortunate that your aunt's reaction escalated to such a degree, and her behavior could be seen as disrespectful. Your desire for a certain level of cleanliness in your home is reasonable and should be respected by guests, especially during a family gathering. Story 3. AITA wife's boss wants to hang out this weekend. I think it's weird. My wife works from home and has never met any of her coworkers in person. Today, her boss messaged her and said that he is vacationing about an hour and a half away from where we live. He asked if she would be interested in driving up at his vacation home to spend a day at the lake on his boat. I find the proposition very unprofessional and inappropriate. I told her I didn't feel good about it and it would be better if she meet up with him in a professional setting like a restaurant. I think it's very odd that her boss invited her to just hang out on a Saturday. They are coworkers, not buddies. She told me that she's gonna miss out on valuable networking because I'm being jealous. I don't think this is coming from a place of jealousy. I've worked in the professional world for 10 years and I've never heard of a corporate boss having good intentions in these type of scenarios. Maybe I'm wrong, AITA? Update. Her boss says his family is with him. Even though that changes the dynamic, I still feel like this could be an isolating situation and I don't like it. The fact she is the only one invited rubs me the wrong way. I know that if I was in a similar situation, my wife would expect me to decline if she couldn't go. At this point, it's a touchy subject in the house, and I don't want to ask any more questions until things cool off. Update 2. A couple people have asked how this was proposed to her. She has Microsoft Teams meetings with her company every day at the end of work. After the business talk is over, they just communicate like normal people and ask what each other's plans are for the weekend. She told her team, including her boss, that she doesn't have anything going on because her husband, me, will be out of town this weekend. After everybody signed off, he messaged her privately and said something to the effect, "Hey, since you don't have anything going on this weekend." So it wasn't like he didn't invite me, but he asked her knowing she would be going by herself. Your concerns about the situation seem valid and rooted in a desire to maintain professionalism and appropriate boundaries. The initial invitation from your wife's boss for her to spend time at his vacation home might indeed raise eyebrows, given the nature of their relationship as coworkers. The update, where her boss mentioned his family being present, does slightly alter the dynamics, but the unease you feel about her being the only one invited is understandable. It's essential to note that workplace dynamics can vary greatly, and different people have different interpretations of what's appropriate. You are not necessarily wrong in having reservations about this scenario, especially given the nature of your wife's interactions with her boss. Your concern isn't necessarily stemming from jealousy, but rather from a reasonable concern about maintaining professional boundaries. Open communication with your wife about how this situation makes you feel and discussing both of your perspectives can help you both find a resolution that works for both of you. Remember, effective communication is key in relationships, especially when it comes to situations that can potentially lead to discomfort or misunderstandings. In the end, it's about finding a balance between fostering her professional growth and ensuring that her interactions remain within appropriate boundaries. Let's read some comments. Chipmunk Obvious 7583. Meeting for lunch understandable. Come up to my place, without your husband, and hang out on my boat in your swimsuit is creepy. Elats. It is not her you don't trust, it is him. What's up everyone? If you like this video, hit the subscribe button now. Story 4. AITA for refusing to become friends with my husband's former wife after donating bone marrow to my stepson? I've been married to Chris for 10 years. Before me, he was married to Lacey for 8, but they were together since high school. They have 4 kids. Chris and I have 2. Lacey hated me. It was beyond our personalities. I think she was bitter over being divorced and seeing the man who she was with since 16 move on. But that's her problem, not mine. We've gotten into it a few times. I'm not apologizing to her because I'm happy and she's not. Chris and Lacey's youngest son, Jacob, was diagnosed with stage 3 lymphoma and needed a bone marrow transplant. Unfortunately, no one in his family was a match. I also got tested and was a match. Lacey actually asked me if I was going to donate, like I'm some kind of witch. Of course I donated, and Jacob is in remission as of this year and is your average 13 years old kid. Lacey has started to come around to me because she knows what I did for Jacob. That's her favorite son. It's bizarre to have her ask me how I'm doing or send me random flowers. The truth is that I don't want to be friends with her. The damage has been done between us and my life is peaceful without her. I'd do what I did a million more times if I had to. No need to shower me with accolades. Just leave me alone. That's exactly what I told her. She told me that what I said was the most hurtful thing anyone has ever said or done to her. My husband said I should apologize, but I refuse to apologize for setting up boundaries with someone I can't stand. This story presents a complex blend of emotions and relationships. Your willingness to donate bone marrow is truly commendable and demonstrates the depth of your compassion. The strained history with Lacey adds another layer to the situation. It's understandable that you have set boundaries to protect your own emotional well-being, especially given the history between you two. While you've chosen not to pursue a friendship with her, your decision appears to be rooted in your own need for personal space and tranquility. Your husband's viewpoint highlights the challenge of balancing emotions and practicality. In the end, what's evident is that your actions were driven by genuine care for Jacob, and your choice to set boundaries is a way to prioritize your own emotional health. Now to the comments. Dina Felice. I had to literally save your child's life. which by the way, I did not do for you, in order for you to change your view of me. But I didn't deserve your hatred for all those years, and you deciding that I'm now good enough doesn't magically undo the way you treated me when you thought that I wasn't good enough. You owe me years' worth of apologies and attempts to make it up to me. But the best way for you to start making it up to me is to leave me alone. The fact that you refuse to do that and are instead trying to make me feel bad for you tends to indicate that you aren't actually sorry for how you treated me. And if you don't regret what you did, then what are we even talking about? NTA. You never owe anyone your friendship. As long as you treat her politely, even if it is distant politeness, whenever your paths cross, you have fulfilled your social obligation. And I'd be curious why your husband thinks you owe her an apology for establishing a legitimate boundary. Edited to add, thank you kind people for all of the lovely comments and awards. What's up everyone? If you like this video, hit the subscribe button now.